You're booking a flight from London to Tokyo. You go to British Airways website, click through, and end up on a flight operated by Japan Airlines. Different planes, different crews, different countries. But your ticket is seamless. Your miles count, your upgrade applies. That's not an accident. It's not magic. That's one of the most quietly powerful economic arrangements in modern capitalism. And most people fly through it their entire lives without ever understanding what it actually is. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on airline alliances. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at a flight booking the same way again. Because this has almost nothing to do with making your travel better, and almost everything to do with money. To understand why alliances exist, you need to understand the fundamental economics of aviation, which are, to be blunt, genuinely terrible. In 2019, a record year, global airlines generated $838 billion in revenue and made about $26 billion in profit. That's a net margin of roughly 3%. For context, the vending machine in your office lobby probably does better. And then there's a problem that's even more structural. Since the Chicago Convention of 1944, international air travel has been governed by bilateral treaties between countries. Two countries agree. Your airlines can fly our routes. Our airlines can fly yours. But only on these specific routes. Only these carriers. Only this many times per week. It means an American airline cannot simply decide to start flying from, say, London to Bangkok. That route has legal protections. You need rights, and rights are not something you can just buy. So airlines face two walls simultaneously: razor-thin margins and regulatory cages on expansion. You can't easily grow. You can't easily profit. So what do? You make a friend who's already inside the cage you want to be in. In 1997, 5 airlines, United, Lufthansa, Air Canada, SAS, and Thai Airways, formed Star Alliance, the world's first truly global airline alliance. The pitch? Together, we cover the world. Separately, we cover a continent. Oneworld formed in 1999, anchored by British Airways and American Airlines. SkyTeam in 2000, built around Delta and Air France. By 2001, 3 power blocks had caved up the world's air routes between them. Not entirely unlike the Cold War, except with better lounge access. Now, critically, these are not mergers. The airlines remain separate legal entities with their own shareholders, their own management, and their own losses. The alliance is more like a cartel with a logo. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. So what do alliances actually do? 3 things stacked on top of each other. 1. Code-sharing. When you book a single itinerary on 2 different carriers and it works as one ticket, that's code sharing. One booking, one bag drop, one connection. From your perspective, it's seamless. From the airline's perspective, they just captured a customer they couldn't have reached alone. 2. Loyalty reciprocity. Earn miles on Lufthansa, spend them on United. Statuses on British Airways, lounge access in Singapore. This is the most psychologically powerful tool in the whole system, because once you're earning miles in an ecosystem, you almost never leave it. You start routing trips specifically to hit status. You pay more for a fare on your alliance carrier. You are functionally captured. Together, the big 3 alliances carry about 70% of all international air passengers on Earth. That is not a competitive market. That is an oligopoly with complementary pretzels. 3. Alliances are a pathway to something called antitrust immunity. Question: If your two competing airlines sat down and agreed to fix prices on the London-New York route, how long before they're in front of a congressional committee? About 5 minutes. That's price fixing. It is illegal. You go to jail. That's antitrust law, day one. So how is it that British Airways and American Airlines can legally, openly, with full regulatory approval, coordinate prices, schedules, and capacity on the exact same route? The answer is antitrust immunity, a specific legal designation granted by the U.S. Department of Transportation that allows competing airlines to coordinate commercially on specified routes in a way that would otherwise violate antitrust law. The theoretical justification: the public benefits from a better integrated network outweighs the harm from reduced competition. In practice, once granted, airlines don't just share flights, they share revenue. The Atlantic joint business between American, British Airways, Iberia, and Finnair pulls all transatlantic revenue. Every dollar on any of their planes on those routes goes into a shared pot. Economically, this is a merger of those routes. All the benefits of consolidation: pricing power, schedule coordination, capacity control, without the legal complexity of an actual merging. Critics, including serious economists, have documented that fares on ATI-dominated transatlantic routes are measurably higher than on comparable competitive corridors. The airline's answer: that's the cost of a better network. The critics' answer: the business traveler has no alternative, and everyone in the room knows it. The honest read: antitrust immunity is the real price. Alliance membership is often the stepping stone to get there. Let's talk about the thing that actually keeps most airlines alive: loyalty programs. In 2020, United Airlines needed emergency financing. They pledged their Mileage Plus loyalty program as collateral. Mileage Plus was valued at approximately $22 billion. United's total market cap at that moment was around $10 billion. The Miles program was worth more than twice the airline itself. How does that happen? Because loyalty programs aren't really about flying anymore. They're about credit cards. Banks pay airlines staggering sums to be associated with their premium credit cards because the airline brand creates spending loyalty that the bank can monetize. Delta made over $4 billion in 2022 from its American Express partnership alone. That's not a side hustle. That's the business. And here's the link back to alliances. The bigger your network, the more useful your miles program. The more useful your miles program, the stickier your credit card product. The stickier your card product, the more American Express or Chase will pay you. The more they pay you, the more you invest in the network. Alliances aren't just about routing passengers. They're about building financial ecosystems. The plane is the advertisement. The miles are the product. Alright, honest assessment. Because there's a version of this that just celebrates how clever alliances are, and a version that says they're anti-competitive arrangements dressed up in nice lounges. And the middle is genuinely interesting. Real benefits. Network connectivity is genuine. A passenger in a mid-sized city who previously couldn't get a reasonable connection to an obscure international destination can now get one, because two codeshare partners coordinated their schedules. That matters. Real costs. The price competition on alliance-dominated routes is lower. An International Transport Forum study in 2015 found that transatlantic routes covered by antitrust-immune joint ventures carried measurably higher fares than comparable competitive routes. The premium was sharpest in business class. And loyalty programs, beloved by frequent flyers, are a form of market lock-in that disproportionately benefit high-income, high-frequency travelers at the expense of occasional leisure passengers who quietly subsidize the system. The summary: alliances make flying more convenient and more expensive. Whether that's a good trade depends entirely on whether you're a road warrior executive or someone who books twice a year for a vacation. Let's land this. Yes, I was gonna use that pun, and I have no regrets. Airline alliances are simultaneously a genuine solution to a real structural problem, a masterclass in building customer lock-in, a mechanism for achieving pricing power without triggering antitrust review, and a system that most passengers interact with every single time they fly, without ever seeing it. Next time you open a flight booking app, you're not looking at a competitive market. You're looking at 3 clubs, each carefully managing their turf, each offering you just enough to keep you inside their ecosystem. The skies are not free, they are very, very carefully managed. Every once in a while, when your bag actually arrives at the same time as you, or you clear an upgrade on a codeshare, you can feel vaguely grateful for the elaborate fiction of competition that makes the whole thing work. Sources and further reading are all in the description. Subscribe if this was useful. Tell me in the comments which lines you actually fly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.